Good afternoon and welcome to the 2021 Teaching Africa Day program. I'd love to welcome you in the West African language of Tree, which is from Ghana, and say Akwaba, welcome. Today, we'll have books, storytelling, games, arts and crafts, dance and music, and wonderful marketplace. Everything you will learn today showcases the diverse, unique cultures of West Africa. So join us for a day filled with surprises. Brought to you by the program partners, the Africa Memory Game, the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art, Yehiel Design, Africa Access, and the Center for African Studies at Howard University, all in celebration of the African Heritage Month of September. Together, we are teaching the next generation. So, get together all your supplies, all your family, your friends, and everything you will need for the crafts. I would say get set, get ready, and let's take off. Good afternoon, boys and girls. Welcome to I Read for Africa. Why Mosquitoes Buzz in People's Ears, a West African tale retold by Werner Ardema, pictures by Leo and Diane Dillon. One morning, a mosquito saw an iguana drinking at a water hole. The mosquito said, "Iguana, you will never believe what I saw yesterday." "Try me," said the iguana. The mosquito said, "I saw a farmer digging yams that were almost as big as I am." "What's a mosquito compared to a yam?" snapped the iguana grumpily. "I would rather be deaf than listen to such nonsense." Then he stuck two sticks in his ears and went off, mek, 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 through the reeds. He was still grumbling to himself when he happened to pass by a python. The big snake raised his head and said, "Good morning, iguana." The iguana did not answer but lumbered on, bobbing his head, bada-min, bada-min. "Now, why wouldn't he speak to me?" said the python to himself. "Iguana must be hungry about something. I'm afraid he's plotting some mischief against me." He began looking for somewhere to hide. The first likely place he found was a rabbit hole, and he went in. Wassa, wussa, wassa, wussa, wassa, wussa. When the rabbit saw the big snake coming into her burrow, she was terrified. She scurried out through the back way and bounded crick, 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 crick across a clearing. A crow saw the rabbit running for her life. He flew into the forest crying, "Caw, caw, caw, caw." It was his duty to spread the alarm in case of danger. A monkey heard the crow. He was sure that some dangerous beast was prowling near. He began screeching and leaping kill will through the trees to help warn the other animals. As the monkey was crashing through the treetops, he happened to land on a dead limb. It broke and fell on the owl's nest, killing one of the owlets. Mother Owl was not home, for though she usually hunted only in the night, this morning she was still out searching for one more tidbit to satisfy her hungry babies. When she returned to the nest, she found one of them dead. Her other children told her that the monkey had killed it. All that day and all that night, she sat in her tree so sad, so sad, so sad. Now it was Mother Owl who woke the sun each day so that the dawn could come. But this time, when she should have hooted for the sun, she did not. The night grew longer and longer. The animals of the forest knew it was lasting much too long. They feared that the sun would never come back. At last, King Lion called a meeting of the animals. They came and sat down,
pem, 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 around a council fire. Mother Owl did not come, so the antelope was sent to fetch her. When she arrived, King Lion asked, "Mother Owl, why have you not called the sun? The night has lasted long, 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 and everyone is worried." Mother Owl said, "Monkey killed one of my owlets. Because of that, I cannot bear to wake the sun." The king said to the gathered animals, "Did you hear? It was the monkey who killed the owlet, and now Mother Owl won't wake the sun so that the day can come." Then King Lion called the monkey. He came before him nervously, glancing from side to side, rim, 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 rim. "Monkey," said the king, "why did you kill one of Mother Owl's babies?" "Oh, king," said the monkey, "it was the crow's fault. He was calling and calling to warn us of danger, and I went leaping through the trees to help. A limb broke under me and it fell on the owl's nest." The king said to the council, "So it was the crow who alarmed the monkey, who killed the owlet, and now Mother Owl won't wake the sun so that the day can come." Then the king called for the crow. The big bird came flapping up. He said, "King Lion, it was the rabbit's fault. I saw her running for her life in the daytime. Wasn't that the reason enough to spread an alarm?" The king nodded his head and said to the council, "So it was the rabbit who startled the crow, who alarmed the monkey, who killed the owlet, and now Mother Owl won't wake the sun so that the day can come." Then Lionkill called the rabbit. The timid little creature stood before him, one trembling paw drawn up uncertainly. "Rabbit," cried the king, "why did you break a law of nature and go running, running, running in the daytime?" "Oh, king," said the rabbit, "it was the python's fault. I was in my house minding my own business when that big snake came in and chased me out." The king said to the council, "So it was the python who scared the rabbit, who startled the crow, who alarmed the monkey, who killed the owlet, and now Mother Owl won't wake the sun so that the day can come." King Lion called the python, who came slithering wassa, 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 past the other animals. But King, he cried, "it was the iguana's fault. He wouldn't speak to me, and I thought he was plotting some mischief against me. When I crawled into the rabbit's hole, I was only trying to hide." The king said to the council, "So it was the iguana who frightened the python, who scared the rabbit, who startled the crow, who alarmed the monkey, who killed the owlet, and now Mother Owl won't wake the sun so that the day can come." Now the iguana was not at the meeting, for he had not heard the summons. The antelope was sent to fetch him. All the animals laughed when they saw the iguana coming, badim, 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 with the stick still stuck in his ears. King Lion pulled out the sticks, parup, parup. Then he asked, "Iguana, what evil have you been plotting against the python?" "None at all," cried the iguana. "Python is my friend." "Then why wouldn't you say good morning?" demanded the snake. "Shh."
"I didn't hear you or even see you," said the iguana. "Mosquito told me such a big lie, I couldn't bear to listen to it, so I put sticks in my ears." "Heh, heh, heh, heh," laughed the lion. "So that is why you had sticks in your ears?" "Yes," said the iguana. "It was the mosquito's fault." King Lion said to the council,
So, it was the mosquito who annoyed the iguana, who frightened the python, who scared the rabbit, who startled the crow, who alarmed the monkey, who killed the owlet. And now Mother Owl won't wake the sun so that the day can come. "Punish the mosquito! Punish the mosquito!" cried all the animals. When Mother Owl heard this, she was satisfied. She turned her head toward the east and hooted, "Hoo! Hoo! Hoo!" And the sun came up. Meanwhile, the mosquito had listened to it all from a nearby bush. She crept under a curly leaf seam and was never found and brought before the council. But because of this, the mosquito has a guilty conscience. To this day, she goes about whining in people's ears. Zzz. Is everyone still angry at me? When she does this, she gets an honest answer. Kapow! Smack. Thank you once again for joining us for I Read for Africa. I hope you enjoyed today's story. The book we read was Why Mosquitoes Buzz in People's Ears by Werner Ardema and pictures by Leo and Diane Dillon. Until next time, I Read for Africa says thank you.
Hello. Welcome to the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art Teach Africa Day, West African Textile Activity. We'll be making bookmarks today. Okay, so welcome. I'd like to share with you an opportunity to make bookmarks at home using West African textiles from the collection of the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art. For these West African textile quilt-inspired bookmarks, what you will need are pieces of African fabric, scissors, glue, cardstock cut into fours, hole puncher, raffia, which is optional, beads, pictures, glitter, which are also optional. Where is West Africa? Well, today we're going to look at West African-centered textiles from Benin, the Ivory Coast, Nigeria, and Ghana. As you can see, Nigeria is right here. It's all in the western coast. We also have the Ivory Coast, we have Nigeria, and we have Ghana. So you'll see the West Coast right here on the map. First, I'd like us to look at a wall hanging from Benin. This, as well as 4 other works of art, are from our permanent collection. I'd like you to look at this wall hanging. What do you see? Think about it. What questions do you have for the artist? Is there a specific pattern? Do you see a story? How do the colors help us to understand the meaning in the pattern? Are there specific languages? Here is a tunic from the Ivory Coast. Look at what you're seeing. What questions do you have for the artist? Do you wonder what he was thinking? Does he have a message? Is there a mood that he wants to instill? What is he trying to communicate? Is there a hidden language? Is there a specific pattern How do the colors help us to understand the meaning in the pattern? Are there any specific languages? What do the symbols mean? Think about how many of the patterns not only may tell stories, but the repetitiveness wants us to think about what the artist is trying to communicate. Maybe the artist is trying to communicate a story or a history or about a specific group of people or about a time period or about something completely fictitious. Here's a closer look of the tunic. You notice that there are a lot of geometrical squares. There's a lot of many different images. Of course, you have many different lines going vertically, very few horizontally, but you see a lot of images within images. You see stories, you see people, but think about what this particular pattern makes you think about. Think about how it makes you feel. Here's a tunic from a Yoruba artist of Nigeria. What do you see? Think about the colors that you see, the red, the blue, the gold. Think about the lines. Think about how it's patterned with squiggly lines, with geometric figures like triangles and squares and diamonds. What do you think the artist wants you to think about? What do you think the artist is telling you? What do you think he's trying to communicate to you? What does this tunic and the colors and the messages tell you about Nigeria? How does it make you think about the country? How is a story weaved into these patterns, or a story that you would imagine? Here is an Asafo flag from Ghana. What do you like about this African textile? Think about, what do you see? You see the images of the birds. You see some of the birds, and then you see fish. And then you see the birds that looks like they're feasting on the fish. The water is blue, or the sky is blue, but the water is brown. You see a lot of geometrical figures. Think about the patterns. Think about what the patterns mean to you. Think about what the artist is trying to convey using patterns, repetitive patterns, especially the triangles. Here is a design much similar to the tunic that you saw from Nigeria. Here you have squiggly lines and you have geometrical figures, but they combine and they're a pattern. And these are the types of patterns you can think about drawing before you put together your bookmark. Think about how the patterns fit together. Think about some of the patterns that actually look like images or animals, birds, snakes, and people that you can actually see intertwined in this particular design. You also see what possibly looks like an eye. You also see 3 or 4 colors. Why are there only 4 colors? These are questions you can ask the artist. Before putting together your bookmark, you need to look at a different variety of fabrics. You can pick fabrics in your home. You can pick scraps of material that emulate different types of fabric that you've seen. You can pick various colors, but there are many, many different types of West African fabrics that you can purchase online. You can actually get them from fabric stores and art supply stores. But more and more places are starting to carry African-inspired printed fabrics. And these are some samples of fabrics that you can use. So what I decided to do was gather my pieces. So I gathered about 5 or 6 pieces of fabric. I just cut them. Sometimes you can rip them or cut them. I cut mine, and I looked at these and I'm like, okay, there's a pattern that I would like to put together. And I'm not really sure, but these are the colors that I really want to work with. I really like brown, as you can see, and I like the blue in the middle. But I would like to put together a message or a feeling, or make people think about what the story is that I'm trying to put together. So first thing you want to do is get 4 or 5 or 6 pieces of fabric to work with for your bookmark, like the ones that I've just selected. With your cardstock, you want to cut your cardstock into 4s. As you can see, this is cardstock cut up into 4 individual bookmarks. I decided to create my bookmark, and this is what my finished product was. I ended up cutting the material and arranging it on the bookmark and gluing it to the bookmark. I also punched a hole at the top and tied a ribbon. At the top, you can also tie fabric or raffia at the top of your bookmark. This bookmark, to me, is supposed to make people feel happy. And the reason why is because there are so many different messages and textures that my bookmark actually takes you on a journey. So as you're reading a book and you look at my bookmark, you remember the journey that you're on in the book, but then my bookmark hopefully will make you happy, hopefully will take you to a much more calmer place. So my bookmark is about promoting joy with the colors of blue, white, pink, and brown, with the many different symbols and designs. The whole idea is to create a joyful experience while reading and to make you think about joyful things. This bookmark actually was created, and when I made this, I decided to use raffia and to braid the raffia to create sort of a lock of hair. Here is a face of a female, and this is more of a collage technique that was used to sort of give a sense of maybe bewilderment, maybe even an Afrofuturistic idea. The whole idea is to create an imagery of the future, hope, but also a sort of designated area of story time and storytelling. So we're looking at futuristic ideas, we're looking at goals, we're also looking at questions of the future. What does this bookmark mean? How does this bookmark symbolize the environment, stories, the future, people? So this particular bookmark, you can be creative with your bookmarks. There's no rule, but have fun. Play around with it and decide how you want to create sort of the persona in your reader. Your bookmark basically can be, you can keep it or you can give it as a gift. But the whole idea is, what is the message in your bookmark that you want to create using pieces of fabric that are West African inspired? Try it at home. Make your own bookmark. And when you're finished, please find someone that you think loves to read, or you could be a reader yourself, but they make wonderful gifts to give to somebody who loves to read. Have a wonderful day.
Hello, boys and girls. It's trivia time, brought to you by the Africa Memory Game. Let's get started with the first question. What is the former name of the Republic of Benin? Is it A, West African Republic, or B, Dahomey? Let's think about this. Okay, I'll repeat it. What is the former name of the Republic of Benin? Is it the West African Republic or Dahomey? Any guesses? Okay, it's answer time. Answer is B. Dahomey. Yay! The answer is Dahomey. Well done to all of you who got it right. See you soon with the next trivia question.
Ivory Coast and Nigeria.
Welcome to the Center for African Studies at Howard University. We are a Title VI National Resource Center in Africa, 1 out of 10 in the US. I am Vanessa Oyugi, the co-director of outreach at the Center for African Studies, along with my colleague and co-director, Brenda Randolph. We would like to briefly introduce you to our programs and our resources. The outreach program is an important part of the Center for African Studies at Howard University. We focus on reading, teaching, and learning about Africa. Our target audience includes K through 12 schools, community and four-year colleges, civic and faith-based organizations, as well as the media and the general public.
We conduct staff development workshops and institutes during the academic year, open to educators, librarians, parents, and community members. And each summer, Outreach hosts Africa in the Classroom and Community, an institute for highly motivated educators interested in reading, learning, and teaching about Africa. This past July, we hosted a virtual institute, Voices from the Swahili World. We are very excited about our 2 new interactive online maps, The Gold Road and Discover Africa in the World. The Gold Road focuses on the network of trade routes that connected medieval West African kingdoms to regional trade routes and the wider world, including Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Discover Africa in the World reveals evidence of Africa-related sites in regions beyond the continent of Africa. Another major outreach initiative is the Children's Africana Book Awards, or for short, CABA. The awards are presented annually to the authors and illustrators of the best children's and young adult books on Africa available in the US. The awards were created by Africa Access and the Outreach Council of the African Studies Association. In 2020, our Center for African Studies at Howard University became the official hosting site for CABA. To view a listing of our upcoming events, please click on our events page, share it on social media, and add it to your calendar. If you are interested in joining our listserv or contacting us for a special question or request, please access the contact form on our website. We will leave you with 2 videos from our African Tea Tradition series. Please explore our additional resources on our website. And thank you for joining us.
Hello, boys and girls. It's trivia time again. How well do you know your capital cities of Africa? Are you ready? Okay. The next question is, what is the capital of Central African Republic? Is it A, Dodoma, or is it B, Bangui? I'll read that again. What is the capital of Central African Republic? Is it A, Dodoma, or B, Bangui? Any guesses? How well do you know your African capital cities? Okay, the answer is B. B-A-N-G-U-I. Bangui. The answer is Bangui, the capital of Central African Republic. Yay! To all of you who got it right. And see you next time with the next trivia question, brought to you by the Africa Memory Game.
Sha.
Ee, mba, kedu ka ị mere? Imeela. Aha m bụ Ngozi. Biko, aghọtaghị m. Nyere m aka. Adị m mma. Ka emesịa.
Aha m bụ Chinwelonuju. Abụ m onye nkụzi asụsụ Igbo na Aunty Chi's Igbo class. Ọ bụrụ na ị bụ onye na-achọ ịmụta ka esi asụ asụsụ Igbo mana ị hụbeghị ụdị ihe ga-enye gị aka ịmụta asụsụ Igbo, ngwa ewetara gị oziọma taa. Oziọma wetara gị bụ maka Aunty Chi's Igbo class. Na Aunty Chi's Igbo class, a nwere group classes nke ga-enye gị aka ịmụta asụsụ Igbo. Ị ga-amụtakwa ka esi ede, sụọkwa ma gụọkwa asụsụ Igbo. Ị ga-ahụkwa ndị ọzọ dịka gị na-achọ ịmụta asụsụ Igbo na Aunty Chi's Igbo class. Biko bịa soro group classes anyị. Group classes anyị na-atọ ụtọ. Ọ ga-amasịkwa gị maka na anyị na-eji obiọma anyị na aṅụrị na-amụta asụsụ Igbo. Ngwa lee, ọ bụrụ na ị bịa soro group classes anyị taa, ị ga-enwe lifetime access to Igbo 101 and Igbo 102 nke ga-enye gị aka ị na-practice asụsụ Igbo gị. Ị gakwa join our practice group nke ga-enyekwa gị aka ide ma sụkọrịta asụsụ Igbo gị na ndị ọzọ na-achọkwa ịmụta asụsụ Igbo kwa ụbọchị. Amakwa m ihe ọzọ ị na-eche, biko sign ya up, soro akara anụ n'okpuru ebe a, sign ya up ka ị soro anyị mụtawa Igbo. Biko, ọ ga-amasị m ịhụ gị. Ngwa ka ọ dị.
Hello, and welcome to the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art, the Art of Stamp Collecting. Today, we hope that you will be interested in starting your own stamp collection and learn a little bit more about West African stamps and culture. Where is West Africa? Well, this is the western coast of Africa, where you see my arrow. We will be focusing on the countries of Liberia, the Ivory Coast, Mali, Ghana, Senegal, and Nigeria. The art of West African stamp collecting. Today, what you will need is cardstock, West African stamps, glue, scissors. The themes covered today will be nature, African art, people, animals, buildings and landmarks, sports, and fashion. Let's start with the theme of nature. Before you start stamp collecting, it's good to choose a theme just to begin with. And in that way, you can focus on several different West African countries where the stamps do have the themes that you're looking for. So with this particular stamp, we've chosen for the nature theme. This is from Ghana. And ask yourself questions like, what do you like about this image? What do you see? As you can see, this is an amazingly beautiful image of Ghana, of beautiful flowers in Ghana, the colors, the way they're positioned. For those of you who love flowers, this would be a dynamic theme because many West African stamps do have flowers. African art on postage stamps. So the example that we have of African art is from a stamp from Liberia. Ask yourself questions like, what do you see? What questions do you have for the artist? Is there a specific pattern that you see? Or do you see a story? How do the colors help us to understand the meaning in the patterns? Are there any specific languages? So when you're selecting a theme such as African art is vast. Many African stamps have images of African art in the form of dance, masks, fashion. But a lot of them have statues, a lot of them have different utility forms of African art. So picking African art is a wonderful theme. There are many, many stamps that have African art on them. The next theme is people. And here you see a postage stamp from the Ivory Coast. When selecting stamps that have people, there are so many stamps with people who are of African descent. You have indigenous people, you have people who do not live in Africa, but are on the African stamps. So you can look in forms of people like, what do you see? What do the symbols mean? Sort of like reading a portrait. In this case, what do the colors mean? The color green, what does that mean? Why was it selected? Why is it a side profile? What does the hair represent and symbolize? What does the nature in the background symbolize? What does this postage stamp represent? So when selecting people, there's many, and I think people is an excellent theme to start with. The next theme is animals. So you have thousands and thousands of animals on the cover of postage stamps throughout the entire continent of Africa, but especially in West Africa. This particular postage stamp is from the Ivory Coast. You can ask yourself, what does this image convey about this country and why? Does this image mean that the country values the elephant? Do they want to save the elephant? What does this image say to people who do not live in Africa, but see this image on an envelope that represents the Ivory Coast? These are questions you can think about when selecting postage stamps that have animals on the cover. Landmarks and buildings. This specific postage stamp is from Mali. First thing that you see is you do see a person, you do see an animal, a camel, but you also see what they often say is a common Mali structure. And this type of Malian architecture is very common throughout Mali. So first thing you want to do is ask questions like, what do you see in many landmarks and buildings and what you're looking for? What questions do you have about this stamp? Looking at the language, what language is the stamp in and why? Is there a specific pattern that you see? Do you see a story? These are questions that can come up, and Oftentimes, what you'll find with African stamps are many of the stamps are in other languages. So you have to ask yourself, what does this mean? Does this mean that this stamp was before the country received independence? Is this an older stamp? What do the newer stamps look like? You can compare it to the newer stamps, but many landmarks and buildings throughout West Africa often have different symbols on it to give you clues on whether or not the stamps were before independence or post-independence. And a lot of times it's through the language. And a lot of times the languages become the culture. So if there are European languages on the stamp, oftentimes it is because that particular language has already been embedded in the culture, and it's probably the first or second popular language spoken in that country. For sports, there are many, many sports throughout various West African stamps. This particular postage stamp is from Nigeria. I find this one to be interesting because I was looking at the message in this particular stamp. It has football on it, which of course means soccer. And on the stamp, it says 10 years of independence, 1960 to 1970. And I think what is interesting is that we already know that this is a stamp issued in 1970, celebrating 10 years. 10 years of independence means possibly the freedom to put what many Nigerians are proud of on their stamps, to feature symbols of pride and accomplishment. So again, Nigeria is one country. Ghana has a number of sports stamps as well. For our fashion, we've selected a postage stamp from Senegal. Ask yourself questions as what statement about fashion does this stamp make? Of course, it's in a French language because the French did colonize Senegal, and French is widely spoken throughout the country. But when you look at the fashion, you see the very popular head wrap, and the meanings behind the head wrap are often very spiritual as well as cultural. And a lot of times there are stories intertwined in a lot of the prints. So this particular statement of culture is definitely one of pride and empowerment, and can often be seen as resilience as well. That stamps with fashion on them are very common throughout the West African region. So if you choose the theme of fashion, you'll have a lot of fun. There are a lot of stamps out there. I selected this one because I'm very fond of the head wrap and the various prints of head wraps. As you start your stamp collection, you want to take your cardstock and you want to cut your cardstock in fours, and you should start with about 6 stamps, maybe 6 or 7. But 6 usually is the amount you want to start with, especially if you're focusing on themes. So if it's theme related, you want to make sure that you have the stamps from your various African countries that have that theme represented in the way that you're looking to interpret. So remember, most stamp collections not only have individual themes, they also send messages. They also tell stories. They also reiterate the trajectory of the entire African continent. So once you cut your stock and begin with 4s, you want to have your glue ready, and you want to begin to collect your stamps, and then find one of the cardstocks and then collect your stamps. So this is a small stamp collection I put together. The theme is nature, and you see a stamp with a beautiful flower, looks like a tulip from Togo. You see a Senegalese woman with flowers on her dress. You see various flowers and images of nature on these stamps. I have one from Cameroon, another one from Togo, another one from Mali as well, one from Chad, and then Nigeria. So I started with actually 7 stamps, and as you know, I cut the cardstock and I pasted the stamps on the cardstock, and that is how I will begin my stamp collection. You can do this too at home, and you can start with one theme. And if you're looking to stamp collect, you can find many stamps online. They are in abundance, from Etsy to various websites. Some even offer free stamps, African stamps, but African stamps are in abundance and they are all over the website, so they're very easy to find. Try it at home. Start your own African stamp collection. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, boys and girls. It's trivia time again. Are you ready? How well do you know your geography? Get ready. The question is, what is the world's longest river? Again, what is the world's longest river? Is it A, the Nile, or B, Amazon? Take your time and think about it. What is the world's longest river? Any guesses? Is it the Nile or is it Amazon? All right, the answer is A, N-I-L-E. The world's longest river is the River Nile. Yay! To all of you who got it right, well done. See you soon with the next trivia question, brought to you by the Africa Memory Game.
Oh, nah, nah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, nah. If my God is for me, tell me who'll be.
Hello everyone,
Tell me who's
I'm
standing
here
there.
to show you how to cook some jollof rice and stew the Sierra Leonean way. So I have some onions here in this bowl, some onions and some habanero pepper, and I'm gonna cut the onions, slice the onions like this, and then if you want, it all depends on how much onions you want shown in the gravy, because it's the Sierra Leonean way is we have the rice that's cooked with some gravy, and then you also have the stew that you put on top of the rice with chicken and beef. So you have these onions here. You can slice as in a thinly sliced onions, and or you can cut the onions up. If you don't want to get it thin, you can cut it up. If it's easier on you, you cut it up to really thin this way, and then you also end up blending. You have to blend some onions in the blender.
I get it all wrong like a typo, but you there for me, you care for me, you always got me. I know they call me.
Add some habanero pepper. If you don't like it spicy, you don't put any habanero pepper. If you like it spicy, you can put as many peppers in there as you want. So now I have blended the onions and pepper in the food processor. I did not put any water in it because the onions already have water and there's pepper in it. So I'm gonna pour. You see, it's a pasty kind of consistency, but it's up to you. Some people don't like to see the onions there,
others don't mind. Plus, we already have the blended. We already have the cut up onions on this side. You see the onions that are cut up on this side? So that's gonna add to the onions being put in the stew to make the stew. Now we come to the meats that you put in the stew. This is steak that I cut up into cubes. The size doesn't matter. It all depends on what you want to use. Some people use, the beef and bone. Others just like just the steak. For me, I prefer the steak. And that's chicken, cut up chicken breast as well. I season all my meats with lemon. I season it with lemon. It adds a different additional taste flavor into it. I use garlic, fresh garlic that I get from Costco. As you can see, it's almost done. I use it with all my meats. I use the adobo seasoning. It's found in all the different grocery stores. I use dry seasoning as well. Italian seasoning, thyme. I have different types. Oregano. Just different types of dry seasonings that I put in. And then again, for the spiciness, if you still feel like the habanero pepper that you use is not enough for you, you can have this. This is found in the Asian markets, and I think it's in regular stores as well now. It's hot pepper, Matuks hot pepper, Jamaican, salsa, but it's real spicy, extremely hot. This is a famous beef bouillon that we use. It's the Maggi cube, and I do believe that it's sold in Shoppers and different stores as well as Asian stores. They have it. It is famous for a lot of Africans use this bouillon, chicken bouillon. It's very tasty. So I use those seasonings in my steak and my chicken, and I marinate it. Most of my food that I cook is left at least an hour a day with seasoning in it, so that once it's done, it tastes really good. So now I have these 2 pots. I'm putting the 2 pots on because of time, and in the end I intend on using this because I'm only doing a little bit of rice. I intend to be using this pot for the rice and this for the stew. But for now, I'm going to use both of them to do to fry the meat, the beef and the chicken. As you can see, I only poured a little bit of oil in here. It's olive oil. And then I put a little bit of oil in here as well for the meats. And it doesn't matter that I'm going to be using this pot eventually for the rice, because the flavor of the fried steak is going to enhance the gravy that I'm going to use for both the stew and the rice. So you check and make sure if it's warm, it has to be hot enough. And we need to step back a little. And I'm going to put this here. All the seasoning at the bottom of the bowl. I'm going to put a little bit of, I'm going to put some water in the bowl, because we know with beef, I want it to be tender. I don't want to just fry it up and it's going to be too tough when you eat it with a stew. So I added a little bit of water in it so that it could boil down and end up frying in the oil that was already in there. So I'm going to cover it up so it could cook real good. And now I'm going to put the chicken in there as well.
I overcome the world. Greater is He that lives inside me. See, I know I can can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You give me strength so I can wait.
Okay, so now, as you can see, the steak that I had put in with the water has dried down, and the olive oil has dried down, and now it's golden brown. Looks really good. So that it's easy to just, it's tender. It's tender in there. Because I covered it up until it's all completely, the water all completely gone. Now I have the chicken in here, and I'm just tossing it around to make sure, let me lower the fire, but to make sure that it has that golden brown look to it, doesn't have that white so it looks appetizing. After you put it in with the stew to make the onions, to make the gravy. So this also is just being tossed around. The water, the little juice that was in there that came from the chicken after washing the chicken and seasoning the chicken. Now I wash my chicken real good, season it with the different seasoning that I told you about. You have that, and then now you have this. And in being proactive, I have already, this is about 4 cups of rice, and I use the basmati rice. Basmati, you could use brown rice, you could use regular white rice, it doesn't matter. Parboiled rice, some people like parboiled rice. For the most part, Sierra Leoneans use basmati or jasmine rice. And then this is the tomato paste that you have to put in the stew, and you have to put in the rice. I have yet to actually make the stew, and I just decided to do the meats first, and then I'll do the stew and add the meats to the stew. So now I added a little bit more oil, in the olive oil in the pot that I used for the steak, and let it get hot. And you see the water that's being produced right now is actually water from the onions. I did not put any water in it. All this just came naturally from the onions. And now I'm gonna cook 1 pot of stew. When it's cooked down, completely cooked to your flavor, your tasting, then divide it up and separate it out into the stew for the meats and the stew for the rice. It's easier, so much easier that way.
Tell me who's standing near me. Tell me who'd wanna dare me. If my God is for me, tell me who'd be against me. Tell me who's standing near me. Tell me who'd wanna dare me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if my God is for me.
I just let it cook down to taste. And I might add some Maggi in there, stir it up, let it simmer until I get the desired taste. Until the onions is cooked and I get the desired taste. If this, like now, the fire might be too high, so you don't want it to get burnt. So I lower it a little and just let it simmer down. So now, as you can see the color of the onions have changed. This is it after it's cooked. And I added an additional pepper in there because it didn't taste, it wasn't hot enough, spicy enough. So you can add that if you wanted to. But this is it without the tomato paste. And I'm gonna let it, once I separate it out, I'm gonna let it still cook some more. But for now, it's cooked enough for me to add the tomato paste to it, and then divide it for the rice and the stew.
Thank you for saving me. Now I can shout glory to my everlasting King. Jesus, the King of Kings. You make my life so beautiful. See me shining now. Yeah. See me glowing now. Yeah, I shine for the world to see, to see. See me shining now. See me glowing now. Yes, I shine for the world to see.
So as you can see now, it is, let me put this under the light so you can see, it's much redder than the stew because I added some more tomato paste, and this is for the stew. So now I added some more salt here in this rice, and with this you could actually add, now that the stew's done, you could add mixed veggie, frozen mixed veggie, corn, peas, green beans. You put it in here, mix it all up, and then you add the rice to it. This is the rice, it's washed, already pre-washed it. This is the basmati rice.
Oh na na, oh yes, oh na. If my God is for me, tell me who'd be against me. Tell me who's standing near me. Tell me who wants to kill me. If my God is for me.
It still doesn't have the desired color. So what I'm gonna do is, because it doesn't have the desired color, it should be darker red. I'd already opened another can of tomato paste that I'd put in the pot for the rice. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna pour it in this water in the bowl, the water that I'm gonna pour in for the rice for it to cook. I'm gonna pour it in here, mix it up so that it's mixed up really good, because I don't want, clumps of tomato in the rice that's not properly mixed. Otherwise, I'll end up with some parts of the rice that's really orangey and then others not. So I'm gonna put it in here, mix it up real good, and then pour it in there for additional color, and then put it for it to cook down. Now I have added the additional tomato paste to the water, and then I put it in the pot. Sorry guys, I didn't measure it, but I have cooked it long enough for me to kind of gauge the amount of water that I need to put. So it's just a little water that covers the rice. As you can see, the rice is just right there.
Tell me who's standing near me. Tell me who'd wanna kill me. If my God is for me.
And I also have, we have what we call bay leaf. it's a not different kind of another seasoning, dry seasoning. It's actually a leaf that I'm gonna take some out, wash a couple of it, well, more than a couple, maybe about 3 or 4 leaves, wash it and put it in the pot of rice to give it an additional flavoring. Now for the stew, I put a tad bit of water, just a little bit of water on there because it had become like really pasty, and the longer I keep it in there, the longer it dries up. But it has the desired taste that I'm looking for.
This is the story of my life, oh. Many men try to bring me down, oh. But if my God says this and his word says this, then it's already done, oh. They can come, I don't care, though. My God has got me in lock, oh.
So now I have poured the chicken and the beef in the gravy. You can, and I'll just let it simmer and taste it to ensure that it has the right taste that I'm looking for. You can you could use thighs, wings, it doesn't matter, whatever parts of the chicken you like. You just season it, marinate them. Some, like I said, again, the steak, you could have the ones that have bones in it, big pieces. It's up to you, your preference. So that's it for the stew. That stew is pretty much done. And now we're waiting for the rice that's cooking here. As you can see, the water and the rice is all dried up. And I put the bay leaf that I told you guys I was gonna put in there. You can see this one here, that's a bay leaf. This other one in here, it's a bay leaf. It gives it a different additional taste. And the fire, I put a fire on real low now because I don't want it to get burnt at the bottom. And the other thing that I do now that some people don't do it, they cook it on the stove until it's completely cooked. But I learned to get like wet paper towel. Some people put foil to keep the steam, create steam, keep the steam in there, and then, but at the same time, don't you have to watch it so it doesn't produce extra water that's going to make the rice soggy, make it mushy. I don't like mushy rice, and a lot of people I'm sure don't like mushy rice either. So now, instead of turning the cover that way, I'm going to turn it this way because now I'm putting it in the I'm going to put it in the oven. The oven is on 450, and just keep watching it for the next 30 minutes because it's not that much rice. So now I'm going to put it in the oven and just keep monitoring it, mixing up the rice, making sure that all the rice everywhere is cooked properly, and that's it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the finished product of the rice. I'm putting it here so you can have a better view with the light, better lighting. So that's the jollof rice with the bay leaf on the side. The bay leaf, you don't eat the bay leaf. It's just there for seasoning, and when you want to serve it, you take the bay leaf out. That's the stew with the chicken and the beef in it. Like I said, again, some people, ooh, it's hot. Yeah, so that's the stew, better lighting with the chicken and the beef in it. This is the final product. You can put it, the stew, You could put it on the side if you want to and eat it together. Or typically the West Africa, the Sierra Leonean way is you put the stew on top of the rice and then you eat it all together. So this is jollof rice, Sierra Leone jollof rice. You can try it at home and make sure when you cook it to your taste. Thank you.
For the world to see, see me shining now, see me glowing now. Yes, I shine for the world to see, to see.
My name is Faith Isingo. I'm original from East Africa, Tanzania. I'm going to show you how to make a tea masala, or in Swahili we call it chai ya masala, which is accompanied with mahamri or maandazi. These are common refreshment drink and snack in East Africa, especially in the coastal area, whereby every morning people always have chai masala and mandazi as a snack. How we prepare tea masala? We need milk, you need water, you need sugar or sweetener or honey, whatever you want. You need tea bags, and you need spicy black pepper, cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, and cloves. I'm going to show like serving for 3 people. You pour 2 cups of milk, 1 cup of water, 1/4 spoon of cloves, 1/2 spoon of cinnamon, 1/2 spoon of ginger, 1/2 spoon of cardamom, 1/2 spoon of black pepper, 2 tea bags, or if you don't use tea bags, you can do 2 spoons of tea leaves. You put all in a cooking pan, you boil it. It takes like 5 to 10 minutes. You pour it in a container and it's ready to be saved. Chai or tea masala is very beneficial, especially in the morning and evening. It can bring energy, and as you know, all these spicy, they are good for blood stimulation and circulation. You are all welcome to enjoy tea masala and feel refreshed. My name is Faith Isingo. I'm original from East Africa, Tanzania. Mandazi is East African donut. Here in America, people have toasts, but in East Africa, we have mandazi in the morning. And in the evening, it's been taken as a snack. They are not exactly like donut. They are a little bit fluffy. If you want to make mandazi serving for 4 to 5 people, you can take 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You mix with 1 tablespoon of yeast, and then you mix with 1/3 or 1/4 of sugar. You mix it together. Then you put 1 tablespoon of cardamom. After you mix it together, you drop 2 spoons of either butter or vegetable oil. It depends what you want. And then you stir it together for like a few seconds, like 60 seconds, so that the mixture can be all together. And then you pour coconut milk. The coconut milk, you measure 1 cup of coconut milk. You mix it together, and once the dough is all nice and stiff, either you can add a little bit of water or you can leave it just like that. And then you let it sit for 2 hours. When it's raised, you take the dough, make sure you mix it together nicely. I'm gonna roll it. Roll it. And then you can, so that you can cut in any shape you want.
And after cutting the shapes you like, then you can toss them in a hot boiling oil, which is vegetable oil. And they can be done in 5 to 7 minutes while you turn in each side. Karibuni wote, maandazi yako tayari kuliwa. You're warmly welcome. The maandazi are ready. They are all ready to be eaten. It's very good to be accompanied with tea or tea masala.
It's trivia time once again, boys and girls. Are you ready? How well do you know your history? Listen real carefully. Mansa Musa was the grandson of Sundiata. He made a historic pilgrimage to Mecca. He built a university and mosques in the city of A. Cotonou or B. Timbuktu. How well do you know your history? Any guesses? Okay, the answer is B. Timbuktu. Timbuktu. The answer is Timbuktu. Yay! To all of you who got it right, well done. You've done a great job. Congratulations to everyone for participating in today's trivia. You've done a fantastic job. Give yourselves a high five. Again, all trivia today was brought to you by the Africa Memory Game.
Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Takisha. I'm going to take you to Ivory Coast and I'm going to take you to Nigeria and Ghana. Welcome. I present to you Kukuwa. Nigeria. Here we go. Here we go.
is turning around for me. This is my testimony, my testimony. Oh yeah. Jesus, you have turned my life around. I'm a living testimony. I'm so blinded by your grace. You are the truth that lights my way. Everyone's asking how I'm smiling, waiting to make me smile. Lord, you've given me my freedom, so I will sing and testify. So in the name of Jesus, I am free. Oh yeah, yeah. I am free. I've got my freedom. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. So in the name of Jesus.
Okay, boys and girls, and all who joined us, we've come to the end of this special time. Thanks to our partners, our vendors, and to all of you for making 2021 Teaching Africa Day so awesome. Thanks to the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of African Art, the African Memory Game, Yehiel Design, I Read for Africa, Africa Access Review, Genie Apps, Center for African Studies at Howard University, and Kukua Fitness. Hope you had fun and learned something new. For more educational content and to share any comments, visit us at www.teachingafricaday.com. Until then, see you next year for Teaching Africa Day 2022.